Hello and welcome to another video. You join me here today leaving the village of Dufton. It's about a 10-minute drive from my house, so still staying as local as possible. And what we're doing today is heading up High Cup Nick. Now this has been made relatively famous recently as a walk by Julia Bradbury. She comes around the UK, does loads of walks, and they become very popular. So what a time to walk it during lockdown when, well, hopefully there shouldn't be any tourists here. And it should be pretty quiet. And it's quite an amazing thing, High Cup Nick, as well, so I'm really excited to get up and take some photos and see what it's all about. Let's get on with it. So the flags we've just gone past are for the firing range, because obviously walk-up training range for the army is over that way. Now luckily we're on the Pennine Way and it actually skirts that firing range, so all they're doing is letting you know there is live firing today, but obviously we're not going into that area, so it shouldn't be an issue. It's amazing the amount of military activity around here actually, and after New Year when they reopened you do start to notice it, but I don't know. They kind of keep to themselves quite a lot, you know. You can walk around quite close to where the firing ranges are, even when they're live, and you don't really see anything, but then they're such big areas that I guess that's kind of the idea overall. One of the other ways you can get up High Cup Nick is to go from a village called Hilton, which is over there. It's a little bit smaller than Dufton and hasn't got a car park. The reason I started from Dufton today is because hopefully I want to bring a group up, so I need to start somewhere where you can actually park, you know, 10 cars, etc. But it would be interesting to try it from Hilton, I think, because this is a lot of track and road, pretty much all the way up. You know, there's sort of the last, I think, 2 miles are properly off-road, and obviously, you know, High Cup Nick I'm sure spectacular, but walking up the Pennine Bridleway when it's just a tarmac track like this isn't quite as interesting as I suspect it could be. The weather up here at the moment is absolutely balmy. As you can see, there's a relative bit of snow and it's increasing as obviously we climb higher. And last night there was really heavy snow near me. It turned to rain this morning. Obviously it's not happened quite as much up here. The sun's now out. We've had storms for the last 3 days. It's just bonkers. It seems to just be doing whatever it wants at the moment. You know, you wake up one morning, no snow on the mountains. You wake up the next, snow on the mountains. Wake up the next day, no snow on the mountains, and it's just repeating itself like that all the time at the moment. I mean, it's rather entertaining because you never really know the conditions you're going to walk in, and the forecast seems to change at a split second like that. You know, this afternoon was meant to be really quite overcast, chances of a bit of rain, and then by 10 o'clock this morning they were predicting this glorious weather, which we've got now. Really cannot make its mind up. This snow here is really deep. How big are the drifts? God, this is... I mean, my leg's still sinking into this, bloody hell. And that's me up to my knees. We only had a couple of inches of snow last night, but that doesn't really make much of a difference. I mean, I could lose my entire arm down there and just lost my knee down there, so... Oh, hopefully this isn't quite as hard going as it seems like it might be. mean, what I really want to know is what they expect me to do about a sign that says caution, shooting in progress. What am I meant to do with that piece of information? Watch out for flying bullets. I said I'm not in the military firing range. That is over there. Who knows, maybe they've got some new recruits on. Perhaps they're not quite as good with their aim. Maybe I should be watching out for stray bullets. So that over there is the starting point, really, of the valley, and obviously Hike Up Nick, which is right at the top of this. But even from that angle, just how that sits in the valley, it's extraordinary, really. It's probably one of the biggest things coming here today is to think about the geography behind Hike Up Nick and how it's been formed over thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Hike Up Nick's had 5 different glaciers sat in it over its lifetime, and those 5 different glaciers have eroded it into a really, really deep U-shaped valley. And in the UK we do have the U-shaped valleys, but not quite like this. This is an extreme example of one. And I tell you what, as I'm climbing higher and higher and getting closer to Hike Up Nick, the middle point, that's really starting to become clear. And there it is, right down the end of the valley. That is Hike Up Nick. And what an incredible valley that is. I think what would be quite funny about these walks coming back is literally all the walks in my local area at the moment I've done, well, they've been covered in snow. And it's like here, you know, you can see that boulder field and you see it all the way around actually, but it doesn't quite look like a boulder field because it's covered in snow. So when I come back during the summer months, especially with groups, I'm sure it'll look very, very different. But then saying that, this time of year is brilliant for practicing navigation in an area. You know, if you can navigate in snow and winter conditions, the summer's an absolute breeze, really. And what a lovely little waterfall. Such a pretty valley. Luckily, I've just seen 2 people. I've seen footsteps all the way up this, and a few paw prints too, so I knew there was someone up here, but it's whether they'd gone back or not, because there were a couple heading backwards. Good news is though, as this snow's getting deeper, they've kind of dug a bit of a path through it, so it's making my life a lot easier than it would have been, because this snow is actually quite deep. And we're just coming onto the plateau up here now, and I tell you what, it's so quiet, but also so extraordinary looking down to Hike Up Nick, and obviously huge valley to the side. This has got to be one of the most beautiful places I've ever walked. I can see why Julia Bradbury came here. Just means it's probably going to be quite busy during the summer, but there we go, as all beautiful places often are at the moment. Chico is being on snow patrol today. As you can see, he's checking out how deep that snow is over there. Established it's too deep and he's carrying on. There's been some massive drifts along here and he's just sunk straight into them. But it's quite handy because I know to avoid that area. I tell you what, I bet that's deep. It obviously looks like a lake or something, but huge dip full of snow. I guarantee you that is at least knee depth. I'm actually quite excited. We're just coming down to Hike Up Nick now. It's literally just 50 metres ahead of me. It's about 2.5 hours to get up here from Bufton, and it's been tricky underfoot because of the snow, but I imagine normally it's a relatively straightforward walk, which again would add to its popularity. But what does add to its popularity definitely is the dramatic view down that valley there. Look at that. And you can see all the way over to the lakes as well today, just because of how clear it is. But that dramatic sort of rock line as it follows down the valley, and how sheer it is as well. Amazing. I can't even tell you how cold it is up here as the wind is blowing up this extraordinary valley. But I tell you what, we've done it, we've made it to hike up Nick and seen 2 people. So Julia Bradbury, you haven't made it that popular, at least during the winter anyway. But what a view down there. This waterfall's actually starting to blow back up because of how windy it is up here. It probably isn't coming across quite as it is on camera. What I'm going to do now though is head back down. Chico's cold, I'm cold, and it's definitely time to head home and grab some warm drink. I'll see you soon.